started. I want to welcome everyone to this session. I'm so freaking excited about session number 2, how to stop dating the wrong type of men. And we're going to be learning step by step the processes to start attracting your Mr. Right. Last night, believe it or not, we went over 2, right? The first step is identifying your blind spot. And then the second step, well, what could you do to start shifting that? So those are 2 things. Today, we're going to go over the third item. I do want to provide a disclaimer for everyone, and this goes for this session and all of my sessions. These sessions are recorded. I want to make sure, because this is serious stuff, right? If you do not want to be on video, do not put your picture on video. Hide yourself when you're talking to me. Don't display your image if you don't want people to see you. I want to make it clear that these videos can be used for promotional reasons. They are owned by myself, Camille Sheppard Parrish, the Healthy Love Coach, and Get Mr. Right University, and my organization, Heart Speaks Publishing. So please be aware of that. So if you come on, I'm going to assume that you understand that I own these videos and you don't have rights to them, and I do. So just be aware of that this is all legal stuff that I want to make sure that we're clear on, because and then at the same time, just really understand that it's okay. We're all in this together. This whole world needs healing. When I look at what happened with, again, I will say it over and over again, with Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain, and then my husband told me there was a third person, a musician, that they found that committed suicide. This is serious stuff. I'm not a therapist. I am a coach, and I've gotten a lot of training to be a coach from positive psychologists, from the ICF, and I do want to make that clear that there is a big difference between a coach and a therapist. One of the biggest things that I think is a difference is that a coach really helps push you forward. And sometimes we as women, we're going through so many deep things that we're not ready to be pushed forward, but a coach is there to help grab your hand and pull you while you push yourself forward, right? So I will help you. I will be a guide. I will show you what you need to do. A therapist is if you are touching your wounds and they're super unbearable, and you know, you don't even want to do anything about it, you might need a therapist. And why they can help you, a psychiatrist or a therapist, is because they can give you the medicine that you need to get out of that mode sometimes, right? And push you forward. Now, my personal opinion is I don't like to be medicated. I think the world is over-medicated. I think we're medicated with our food, with all of these antibiotics and all these chemicals the animals are eating and the vegetables have that they, use to make them grow. We're over-medicated. People are dying from so many things. We are depressed. Men have so many feminine hormones inside of their body just from drinking cow's milk and all of these hormones that they're using to make stuff grow, right? And so now we got all these feminine men, right? And blah, blah, blah. We can go on and on and on and on and on. So my advice to you is really get yourself to a position where you can do your inner work so we can get this one and done and move forward to attracting the love that we deserve and having a better, more fulfilling and happy, healthy life, right? Not just with a man, but with yourself. Because when it comes down to it at the end of the day, your happiness, your spirituality, your connection with your creator, your ability to be resilient, your ability to understand your purpose and your values is what's key. And that's exactly what we're going to jump into tonight. So I hope tonight is very beneficial for you. And I have Anita saying that she realized that her pain from her childhood and her marriage dictates how she feels about herself today. Yeah, and I was speaking to someone today, and I need to hurry up and write my book, because that's what my book that I've been working on is all about. And I really need to go ahead and get that out into the world, because I think that's going to be my masterpiece, right? I love the book that I wrote. Everyone loves that book. If you don't have it, get the book. I think right now you can download it for 99 cents on Amazon. For those who like a hard copy, you can still order it. But go get the book, right? we're going to be using it a little bit tonight. And then Charlene says, my trust issues are deeper than I realize. Yeah, and they are. And we have to unravel that stuff. And the way you unravel it is by doing your work. I read a lot of your emails today again. And one of the emails that, or, you know, when I asked you to tell me what is your biggest love challenge, one of the emails that stuck out to me in my mind the most was the woman who said, how do I understand, what do I fix within me so that I can stop attracting the wrong type of man, and I can love me and show up in the world as a better person so that my Mr. Right can find me. Wow. I could just hug her because, and you know, she's probably on the call because she registered, and that's how I got that note. And that's amazing when you have that level of consciousness, because that's where we all need to be. It's all about what things do we need to shift within us, right? And it's not getting boobs implant, butt implants, getting a tummy tuck, or as they say, getting your body snatched, I guess is a new term, right? So it's not all about that. It is really about what do we do to really improve ourselves, right? And to identify our blind spots and our trust issues and some of these things that we may have hangups with. How do we work through them? You know, it's sad when I work with women and they tell me that they were sexually molested by their own parents, right? I work with a woman who said she was abducted and kidnapped by her own parents. I've worked with women who have had so many things happen to them by men. So this is a tough body of work. Yeah. And so, you know, Vive is saying that her first relationship ended after 12 years of being together, and then desperate to be in a relationship and get married, it put her in a terrible relationship lately. Yeah. And that's what desperation can do. And so we want to come from a place of abundance, love, even if it's just for ourselves, instead of a place of lack. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the presentation, because I can sit here and chit chat, like have a fireside chat with you all night, because that's what I love to do. But what I'm going to do is bring up the presentation, and we're going to just get into this thing. I'm going to share my screen now, and we're going to get into the presentation. And voila. Welcome to How to Stop Dating the Wrong Type of Man and 5 Steps to Attract Your Mr. Right. Because that's what this is all about. That's what's important to us is how do we stop this negative, toxic behavior that we have, whether it's because of our past, because of something in our present, because of our emotional state. How do we stop doing the same things that we've been doing for so long that's been getting us hurt, causing us to feel broken, causing us to have low self-esteem, no confidence, causing us to really think less than ourselves, and causing us to be in a state where we just want to give up, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about again today. We're going to expand on what we talked about yesterday. And again, my name is Camille Sheppard Parrish. I'm the Healthy Love Coach. I am the one and only Healthy Love Coach. So I love that title. I didn't give it to myself. It was given to me, right? And so I know that you all can hear me. Tonight, we're going to be focusing on how to attract a high quality man who is looking, right, to be in a committed relationship with you, right? This is the key. This is the magic. This is the juicy, yummy, yummylicious stuff, right? This is what we want, right? We want to be able to have a picture like this and post a picture like this, right? This is me and my husband before we were even married, right? And this is when I found my Mr. Right. So I always love this picture, right? We look so happy in this picture. Everyone always says you look amazingly happy. And we were. It was an amazing time meeting and marrying my Mr. Right. And so here we are, right? I'm going to show you how to do the same. As a matter of fact, I met my Mr. Right. We were friends for about 11 months. We were not dating. We did not kiss. We did not have sex. We didn't do anything but be friends. We talked on the phone. We did go out to eat. Sometimes we went to a movie, or if there was a party, you know, we saw each other at the party. We probably danced together, talked together, you know, broke bread together. but we didn't have a title on our relationship. And the magic in it all is he wasn't pressed and I wasn't pressed. Right? Until one day, you know, we kind of looked at each other a little bit different. I mean, I think we knew that an attraction was there, some chemistry was there, but neither one of us acted on that chemistry or that attraction. Neither one of us pressured each other, right? It was just like an unspoken thing, right? And so what happened is that we were out someplace dancing, and I had a little too much to drink, and and he was looking pretty handsome there, and we were chit-chatting and talking and laughing, and he was just talking, and his lips looked so juicy and yummy, and I gave him a kiss. This was after a year of knowing him. So in that instance, I'm going to tell you, I leaned in and I was the one that snuck a kiss, right? And at that moment, he kissed me back and it was on, right? And from that moment, he let me know what his intentions were, right? Because we kissed, and for many, a kiss may not be a big deal, right? We might not think that a kiss is such a big deal, but a kiss is a big deal, because a kiss is where it all starts. So if you all remembered, I told you that a kiss is the very beginning of sharing your chemicals in your body, right? And so when you kiss someone, oxytocin is what fires off in your body, right? And it usually happens pretty immediately. Right? I remember just knowing that, we were getting kind of close. I had a feeling that we were kissing a couple of days. It's probably why I leaned in. It was just the way our conversation was going on the phone. He started asking me some questions he never asked me before. I was like, wow, his tone is shifting in a relationship and our friendship. I mean, what's going on? And so I was kind of prepared. In my book, if you read my book, in the back, I wrote a poem about a kiss. It's not just a kiss. And we hadn't kissed yet. That's how close I knew we were to kissing. I manifested this, right? So I really know how to teach women how to manifest what they want, no matter where you are in a relationship or when you are just starting to date, right? And so I wrote this poem about this kiss that I never had, and I just wrote it. Maybe I will bring it on and read it next time. But and I just knew this kiss was coming, and we did kiss. And then after that, he was such a gentleman. He knew that it was a serious thing because we had just been friends talking. And I guess he felt differently after he kissed me, and I felt differently after he kissed me. And it was like, where are we going? I think we must have talked for hours about where is this going to go? Where do we see each other? Do we see each other in our future? Right? And so the key thing I want you to take away from that, because what I hear a lot of you telling me today, and this is the point, is that a lot of you that I've talked to today has said to me, well, I talked to the guy and he told me, I asked him what was his intentions, and he told me that he was going to be monogamous and exclusive. And I always say, did you ask him that question? Or did he come to you? Because a lot of times when we bring it up and he knows that you haven't had sex yet, right? Think of this guy who's ready to have sex with you, right? You're looking yummy to him and he wants to be with you, and he's like making his moves on you, and then you say to him, well, are we committed, or are we exclusive, or are we in a relationship? What in the world do you think a guy is going to say at that hard-pressed moment? Pun intended, right? And so that guy is really going to let you know, oh yeah, he's going to say almost anything he can say to get into you, right? Well, you probably saw a post I made, and it's a quote that I made, that commitment is the rent that a man pays to reside inside of you. And that's very true. And so when it's time, you can't get this commitment right before you get ready to have sex and you're about ready to pull your pants down and jump into bed, or you're in the bed. That's not a real commitment. That's a commitment coming from a place of need right now, right? And men's sexual desire is just like a biological need, and it's something that they need to get satisfied. And that's not the moment to ask for a commitment, because he will say almost anything. Yes, I'll give you a baby. Yes, I want to be married. Yes, I'll do whatever, because he just wants to be connected to you in a sexual way in that moment. So you cannot count that. as a commitment. And I'm going to encourage you not to expect him to keep his word after that moment, because it may change, because people always say, well, after we had sex, he changed. Well, yeah, because he only said what he said to get the commitment. So this comes, you have to be aware of your emotional DNA. That's what we talked about yesterday. And know where you're vulnerable. I'm going to go back to sharing the screen. Okay. And so it's my pleasure, really, and my honor to really have you join me for this 3-part masterclass series, right? Again, we talked yesterday about 2 points, and today we're going to talk about the 3rd one, and then tomorrow we'll talk about the final 2. And I really want to thank you for spending the time to talk to me really about these 5 essential steps to stop dating the wrong type of man so you can really, really attract your Mr. Right. These are a couple of ladies that attended the retreat. I don't think this was from last year. This is from the year before last, from our retreat. And we have an amazing time. And as you can see, women are really diving in to learn and pay attention to what they can take away from the retreat. So we have a lot of fun, but it's not all fun and games. It's a lot of learning and education, because I want you to walk away with the ability to get your man. So I want to really thank you for all of the love notes. So many of you sent notes about the session from last night. I really love hearing your stories and your experiences. I do read them. So I really, really do read them. So please share the masterclass with your friends. Okay. Share what I'm doing with your friends. Some of the women called and they said, gee, how could I thank you? You can thank me by sharing my posts, sharing my information, sharing what I'm doing with other people, right? If you're in the media, share it with the media. Tell them, hey, great, this is a great coach that you should have on your platform. If you know someone having an event or a retreat coming up, or a ladies' night out, I do fly. Just share it so that I can, continue to help and bless more and more women. Share my posts on social media and Facebook. Forward my emails to some of your friends so that they can also get invited, because that's the best way to spread things. Share my YouTube videos on your social media pages. And that's the least you can do for, to show me that you really appreciate what I'm sharing with you. And again, you all know from yesterday that I'm an author, speaker, coach, and I'm the founder of Get Mr. Right University. And I'm going to help you get your man, right? That's what I want to do, right? Because again, through our university, and this is another picture from our retreat, this is a really good example. I think this was the first day, and we were really introducing ourselves with each other, and I had the women make a big circle. This is only a part of the circle. But we had them make a circle so that they could introduce themselves and really determine what they had in common and why were they here and what brought them to this point. And what happened in this particular instance is that as a person, one woman went up and she introduced herself. And as she introduced herself, she had to tell something about her story, not her whole story, because this was the introduction, just a little snippet. It's like a 30-second introduction, maybe 60-second. When you resonated with what she said and you could relate to her, right? When you realize, wow, she's going through the same thing I am, you were to go up and grab her arm to give her support and let her know you know where she's coming from. And as you spoke, the next woman would do the same. When she resonated with something you said, she'd come up and grab your arm. So eventually we have this big circle of women holding, locked in arms together, showing connection, solidarity, giving each other support, and making us feel that, we are all in this together. Here are some more pictures of them having fun. We have a lot of fun at the retreat. They were all feeling empowered. And this is part of what causes you to really attract more men. When you can get into your feminine energy, when you can do your work, as I mentioned yesterday, when you have that connection with your creator, the connection with yourself, right? Realizing that you are a queen, right? You are truly a queen, and a queen has to be in her feminine. She has to have high values. She has to really be happy, understand her purpose, and most importantly, she has to be aligned with her core values, right? And when you're at that spot, you can look like these ladies. You can really enjoy yourself, have a great time, be in your feminine energy, and then at this point is when you really will attract your Mr. Right. Right. So I'm so excited about this series. Again, this is me doing a one-on-one coaching session with someone, right? Because teaching really and coaching really gives me an opportunity to help women all over the world. And someone said to me today, and I really thank them for this comment, that Camille, you're so relatable. You really get what we're going through. And the reason why that is because I've been where most of you are, right? So I can really connect. I'm not teaching from a textbook only. I'm teaching from my heart. I'm teaching from my experience. And it's so easy to connect and understand where you are to shift you out of your spot, so that because I've been there. And that's why I can really help you. I know what you're going through. And that's why it's easy for you to get what I'm saying. So welcome to session number 3, how to attract men who really want to be in a committed relationship with you and marry you, right? And really want you to be his wife. How can you show up in a way where this man will recognize that you're his wife, right? So me and my husband have went out many, many times. You know, how did he get to the point without me having sex with him, without me dropping hints, hey, be with, because I was multiple dating. I wasn't just dating him. I was dating him. I was dating him. I was dating him. And I was having a great time. But what made this guy said, I want you to be mine and mine alone, right? What was that it factor? What was that irresistible woman factor, irresistible quality that made this high quality man see me as a high quality and high valued woman? Right? What was that it factor that made me so irresistible to him, right? Ultimately, it was because I was an authentic woman. I was truly aligned with my core value and my purpose. So many of us say that. It's so cliche is to say, hey, be aligned with your core value and know your purpose, right? Live in your purpose, walk your talk, do your thing, right? So easy for us to just say that. It's just like, again, like you're in a hypnotic trance. It's just automatic, right? You're on autopilot, right? But you can't be on autopilot. It has to really come from inside. And unfortunately, with the social media today, the world does not know how to make this come from the inside. They only know how to pretend and make this come from the outside. Right? So I know that you're a successful woman in your career, right? Many of us know how to do that. You may have the career, the lifestyle of your dreams. You might be making money, right, to support you and your family, right? And maybe you're in a position to travel and invest and acquire property and do all of these things that you really desire, right? But my question is, are you aligned with your core value, right? Are you truly aligned with your core value? So we're so busy doing things for other people, trying to get a man, that we really don't take the time to be with ourselves and truly understand who we are and what we want out of life. That's where it starts, ladies. I don't care if you just got out of a relationship. Before you get, over one man by getting under another, you need to go inside yourself before you let anybody else go inside of you. You need to go inside yourself and do some work, right? Right? So before we do anything else, this is what I want you to do. I want you to understand who you are. What are your core values? What's your purpose? How are you aligned? Are you in alignment with yourself, right? So I'm going to ask you tonight and challenge you to look inside yourself again. Get some pen and paper. Get a pen and paper out if you don't have one. I want you to not go on social media unless you're going to tweet something juicy that I said, right? And I want you to just think about your core values as we're going through this. What are your core values, right? Your core values are those really innate, unchanging things within us, right? That causes us to be unique and to have our own unique way of contributing to society, right? So for me, I really care about women. So that's my part of my core value. That's not my only core value. But I think helping women, helping people, nurturing people, being a giver is a big part of my core value. Even when I was a little girl, my parents used to always tell me, you would stop and help every little kid that was hurt or crying. You would get a tissue for them and dry their tears, or take their hand. And if they were hurt, you would, walk them someplace and try to help them. And so this has been a part of me. So I know that that's really a deep part of my core value, right? So what are your core values? I want you to start thinking about that. Right? I spoke to someone today, and she's probably on the line, but she got out of a bad relationship and she didn't know what her purpose was. Right? And so it's really important for us to understand what our purpose is and what our core values. Tonight, we're going to really focus on core values, but they do help shape our purpose, right? Because if you understand what's important to you, right, you'll understand what your purpose is. Some people, the most important thing that they want to do is just have a child. They really have those mothering, emotions, and they're driven by motherhood, and their purpose is to really raise their children. And that's really okay with them. Some of them don't get a career. They don't do anything. I heard someone say yesterday that he's been a Mr. Dad or stay-at-home dad for all of his children, right? So that is what's important to him. That's a big part of his core value. So these characteristics, they really shape the way we perceive, we feel, how we reason, how we make decisions, and how we contribute to life, right? Even contribute to our relationships. Right? We spend so much time wanting someone else, another human being, to fill the gaps of what we need, that we forget to fill our own self up. And please understand, if you are a woman that constantly wants a man to fill you up and you have nothing to give, and you're not a woman who understands her purpose and her core values, you're not going to be very attractive to that man. And so it's going to be super important for you to really get it. To, one, understand your core values, and to fill yourself up with your own purpose so that you can have something to give to life, give to the relationship, and just really bring a whole different energy and vibe that he's never felt by any other woman, right? And I know for some of you, you might not have ever thought about this. But believe me, when we start talking about healthy relationships, longevity, sustainability, building a future lasting forever, these are some deep qualities that you need, because after you have sex, then what? You're not going to just have sex like rabbits all the time, right? You got to pay bills. You got to go live. You got to eat. You got to keep yourself in shape. You got to do something besides sex all the time. That might be great. I will give you the first couple of years. But after that, you need something else with substance, because otherwise you might not get bored, but he's going to get super bored and turned off, and he's going to be looking for other interests. So each person's values are really unique to whoever you are, right? To each person. Even if two people happen to pick the same words, I'm going to show you a word list in a minute. And I have a word list in my book as well. So if you don't have my book, please go out and get it, because there's a word list in there as well. And so even if you're looking at a list of core values and two people pick the same word, it's going to mean something different to each person, because, when we think about integrity, that's going to mean something different to each person. And your depth of integrity will be different, right? How you view integrity. Some people, when you think about honesty, right, that's a core value, right? Some people view honesty is really critical, but a little white lie is okay, right? And so some people feel no white lie, no nothing. Honesty is honesty, right? When we talk about other things like spirituality, right? Some people are hardcore with their spirituality, and some people feel like they can go to their place of worship once or twice a year and still feel spiritual, right? So there's so many different levels of your core values. Again, it's going to be something different for each person. But whatever it is to you, it's going to show up in your daily actions and your language. One of the biggest things you need to understand about your core values, right, is well, you want to know why you need them, right? And as I was just mentioning, core values, they give us purpose. They really do. They help us to get grounded. Why is Camille talking about this? And I just want to know how to flirt and kiss and sex him up and get him in my bed and get him to be my man and put a ring on my finger. Well, because most men who are interested in a healthy, mature relationship and building a future with someone is interested in more than just sex. That's one of the biggest things I want you to take away from tonight. He's not just interested in your sex and coming over and hooking up and watch Netflix. He's interested in doing some things in life. He's interested in his future. And if all you want to do is hook up and have sex, and all you are is an easy lay, then you're not going to make it to the wife position. He's going to move on to the next woman who can be a wife to him, who he can put on his arm and stand together and build a future with, right? So this is why I'm talking about this tonight, ladies. I told you my process is different. It's a dating differently process. And that's why you have to give yourself permission to adjust your lens so that you can see things from a different light and different from the way the world has conditioned us all of this time to just flirt and say a few sexy things and wait for him to call you and follow all these dating rules and it'll work. No, ladies, common values, deep values, being a pure and a true, authentic woman is what gets a pure and authentic man. So if you want a healthy relationship, you have to learn how to be a healthy component in that relationship. Because when we're aligned with our values, on a daily basis, we have more energy, right? You won't be run down and tired by players and men that just want sex or men that are trying to use you for your money because you wouldn't even fall for that, right? Most of the women that work with me, all of the women that work with me, when they work with me, they have more energy. They're more vibrant. They're happy. You saw the pictures a few minutes ago from the retreat, right? I get you to that place. That was just day one. Day one. They were introducing themselves and dancing and having a good time, right? And so this is where I want to get you to a place where your energy is high and your vibration level is super high. Because when your vibration level is high, it causes us to live life from a different perspective. Let me give you an example of a light bulb. Right? So when we think about vibration, we can think about a light bulb, right? Most of us are very familiar with a light bulb, Philip light bulb, whoever light bulb, right? You know, a light bulb can be 100 watts or it can be 10 watts, right? 30 watts, 40 watts, 50 watts, right? So when we talk about high vibration, if we're just talking about that light bulb, it vibrates at the most for most light bulbs about 100 watts. Right? And that's super bright. If you put 100-watt light bulb in your home, that's like, whoa, it's really bright in here. I can see, you know, I need to wash the walls and clean up a little bit because I can really see everything going on in here, right? When it's at 100 watts, it's really vibrating, right? So could you imagine if you could vibrate at your highest level, how attractive you would be, right? Could you imagine now vibrating at a 30 compared to 100? You're not vibrating that brightly, right? When you put a 30-watt bulb in, you might be putting that in to set a romantic setting in your bedroom for dinner, right? Restaurants have these dim lights in them, right? It's not a high vibration. It could be very romantic and soothing, but it's not like, oh my God, I want to go in that dark room. If we're with a guy having dinner, oh yeah, we might feel like that. But just on a normal basis, we don't want to be someplace dark and dim. We want to be someplace bright and vibrant, right? And so what's happening with a lot of women that don't have a core values, they're not aligned with their core values, they don't have a high vibration. And what happens is that usually a lot of people are vibrating around a 30. And at best, a lot of women are vibrating at maybe a 40, right? That's nowhere near 100%. And what's happening is that we're meeting men where we're vibrating at that low vibration, right? And water only seeks its level, right? Energy only attracts energy, and you're not going to attract energy that has a higher sensation or vibration than you are. It doesn't happen because what happens is that if that guy is vibrating at 100, which you might be attracted to because he is confident, he's fly, he know he's all of that, right? And a bag of chips, and we want him because he is attractive, right? It's like, oh my gosh, he's so great, right? Because he's vibrating at that vibration. But we're down at a 40 or 30, he can't see us. And if he does see us, the only thing he can do is just have us for a sex thing or play toy or whatever, because we're not in his realm, right? We're not on his level. We're not vibrating in the same energy wavelength as he is. So we're not a keeper. He might chill with us for a time being when he's ready to chill and dim his light for a few minutes, but he's not going to stay with us forever. So how do you, one, get your vibration up higher, and then two, attract someone with a high vibration? That's what we're talking about, ladies. And it does start with your core values, with activating your femininity, releasing some of your masculine energy, understanding what your purpose is in life, and really, really living in harmony, staying true to these things of who you really are, and not settling for someone who's not in alignment with you. Because when you're out of alignment, like most of us are, right, we are not aligned with our core values. And so here we go, sleeping with someone on the first night or few weeks, right? And we're like, I don't normally do that. Right? Well, here we go. We're doing it. And then what happens is that we feel less than authentic. We become demotivated. Didn't know it was a word, did you? Right? About our daily lives. We're not excited to get up and do things. We're not excited. We don't have joy about dating, right? Now we're suspicious and we're living in fear and we don't know if it's going to work. And all of this impacts how we show up with men, right? And by the way, if you've had some trauma or some abuse, something go on in your past, in your childhood, you're not vibrating at 100 if you haven't done any work to clear that up. Right? Your inner work is very crucial. And that's why you hear so many people like Ayana Van Zandt. She says, I've done my inner work. You need to do yours, right? Then you hear people like Tony Robbins, right? He's always talking about a breakthrough, right? You hear other coaches talking about this because, and I'm not talking about folks that don't really know what they're talking about. I'm talking about these major folks that really understand where it comes from, right? That's why my summit is called the Love Breakthrough Summit, right? My retreat is the Love Rejuvenation Retreat, because how do you renew the love within yourself and the love between you and your creator and with men, right? We want to rejuvenate the love that you have, right? And then some of my programs are called Love Mastery Program, and everything is just really geared around getting you in alignment so that you can shift your energy and show up in a great way for your relationships. Okay, core values are really important, right? Think about a tree, right? Core values are like our root, and they keep us really, really grounded. Especially when it comes down to those things that are important to us, right? The strength of the values really determines how, the strength of the trunk and the branch and the leaves and everything coming out from it from year to year, right? And as that tree gets stronger and gets firmly rooted, those roots can be huge, right? Sometimes you see the roots popping out of the ground and we think it's a branch, but it's really a root on the tree because the root is so firm in the ground and so healthy. It's so huge, right? So we want to be like that, right? Strong trees really support our ecosystem all around us, right? And with a woman with strong values, motivates, right, the men in her life, the people around her, right? Your men, your family, right? The people, your community is your ecosystem, right? Don't you want to be able to provide a breath of fresh air to the men you're in a relationship with? He doesn't need a breath of fresh sex. He can get that anywhere, right? So you have to stop leading with your sex and your money and your stuff and your degree and your power and your cuteness and your booty. You have to really start leading with who you are, authentic, as an authentic woman who has values and principles. You have to shake it up and do something different because everybody's doing what we're doing now, just sleeping and going on a date. And after 3 or 4 dates, we have sex and oh my gosh, now he disappeared. Everybody's doing that. So we need to do something different, because if you keep doing the same thing, he will never recognize you as a wife. And this is not something you can just say, oh, I got it. Camille said to just do this, because then you got to say what's next. So it's not just attract, it's also keep. Right. So that's why we have a program where we really teach you step by steps what to do. That's why Nat could be on the come on yesterday. I was so thankful that she did. I was surprised. And happy at the same time, but just in 6 lessons, she learned so much, where she's made so many shifts, right? And my personal example, one of my core values is to really be free and happy-hearted. I don't want to be caged up. I feel like, going crazy if someone tried to cage me up, hold me down, dim me down. I can't. I like to be vibrant. I will dance. I will get on a table and dance. I will have a good time. I will dance with a stranger. I just love being a free spirit. I give my food to homeless people after I come out of a restaurant. I don't care if it's still a whole lobster in there, right? My husband used to say, why would you do that? We could have that for dinner. Well, you can't. So why not? Right? And so I just love being a free spirit. I just love giving. I love doing. I love serving people. That's why I do what I do. That's why I can do this 3 nights in a row. Right? And so, I really love doing it, because I love seeing, people be happy, and people are really in gratitude when I do things like this. And so I do try to do this a couple times a year, so that you can learn, and for the benefit of those who can't afford more. At least you have something to give you hope and see the possibility of really having a healthy relationship. And what happens is that when those women are in a better position, they always come back. They come to the retreat, they sign up in my program, and then they get more, and then they're so ready. So I love doing this, and this all is in alignment with my free-hearted core value, right? And when you are aligned, I'm happy. I'm truly happy, right? I'm not pressed. I'm not saying, oh my gosh, only 5 people signed up last night for the retreat. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to come on today. That's not how I feel. I feel like I'm happy that 5 people signed up. I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy that you're learning. I'm happy for those who are going to come, because every year we have an amazing time. And when you're aligned with your core value, you can do things for free. And that's how come, even with the retreat, that's my philanthropy work, right? You're just paying for the services you're getting. There's no commission. There's no payment. It's just every single dime goes to what you are going to be experiencing at that retreat. Now, that's in alignment with who I am. Right? So that's a great example of my core value. Now think about yours, because when you're aligned with your core value, you can really be happy. Your creative juices can flow. You become more vibrant. You get promotions at work. People want to be around you. Guys are like just walking up to you, asking you your name, right? And so I want you to think about that. So here's a list of core values. It's kind of small. I'll read off a couple of them. Authenticity, achievement, adventure, authority, autonomy, balance. What's important to you, right? Boldness, compassion, challenge, citizenship, community, competency, right? Contribution, creativity, curiosity, determination, fairness, faith, right? Fame, friendship, fun, growth, happiness, honesty, humor, influence, inner harmony, justice, kindness, knowledge, leadership, learning, love, loyalty, meaningful work, openness, optimism, peace, pleasure, poise, popularity, recognition, religion or spirituality, reputation, respect, responsibility, security, self-respect, service, spirituality, stability, success, status, trustworthiness, wealth, and wisdom. Like, these are just a few. There's a million and zillion core values you can have, right? And again, if you have my book, you can turn to, I think it's chapter 2. My book, the interesting thing about my book is more like a workbook. At the end of each chapter, you have things to do, lessons, work, sheets really to complete, right? So in there, I do take you through an exercise of your core values, and it's going to be similar to this. I actually took this out of my book, right? And here's a picture of my book for those who may not be familiar with it. I tell you to review the list of core values that's in the book, right? Then put a check mark by all of those that are important to you. And then narrow it down to 5, right? And then eventually I want you to remove 3 of those, and then at least get your top 2 core values, right? If you start with 5, it's okay. That's a lot to work with. I want you to get the 2 things. These might be the things that you couldn't live without, right? I probably couldn't live without supporting someone, right? I have a need to help people. Right? I help people all the time. I get in trouble for helping people. My son is the same way. Right? So that's a family shared core value. A little boy was getting beat up at school. My son stepped in. He was like sticking up for him. And my son is a big 12-year-old. He's taller than me and he's thicker than me, right? And so he stepped in and he told him, no, you don't get to bully another little kid that's smaller than you. You want to fight me. I'm going to protect this kid. And that's just who he is already, right? So we can see where his core values and what's important to him is shaping up. He doesn't like to see other people get bullied. He'd stand in there and he'd go to bat for them. And he's gotten in trouble by the principal because he's whacked a few people because he said, you cannot hit somebody else. You know, it's not good. I'm going to protect him. And he'd push him or whatever out the way so that he can protect the underdog, right? So this influences our lives and our decisions, right? I can see how his core value spills over into what he wants to do. The 2 things, and he's a super smart kid in the honors program that he wants to do. He wants to be a veterinarian because he wants to help and save animals. The other thing he talks about is that he wants to be a brain surgeon because he wants to really help make sure people can have a healthy mind or really get fixed if they need to, right? So we can see where his love and his caring come from, right? And again, so that's a generational type core value because my family is that way, really caring and helping of other people, right? My sons ends up dating women that sometimes need help. I'm like, you can't rescue the world, right? But they try, right? So core values are really they end up influencing us in everything that we do, right? And they really set standards, right? And it ends up affecting our emotional and our mental disposition, because they really guide us and they really affect the relationships that we get into or that we don't get into. They give us better results, right? If you want really better results in your relationship, take the time to consciously define and clarify your core values. That's just a very basic start, right? So really do that. And so how do you apply your core values, right? And really having a loving and fulfilling life, right? Your core values end up being like a GPS. So if my core values is to help people, I wouldn't get into a relationship with someone who doesn't like to help people or someone who's abusive or someone who doesn't have love and compassion for other people, right? So that's how it's a guiding light. If you want to do missionary work, like I had a student, she's a doctor. Actually, she was one of the ones dancing down on the floor. She's so sweet, and she's a doctor, and she wants to do missionary work. She likes helping people. She wants to go to a foreign country and help children. Well, it wouldn't do her any good to marry someone who has no interest in even traveling with her to different countries to help children, right? So that's really a part of who she is. So that helps her right from the beginning not to date the wrong type of men, because she can start to see who's the right kind of man for her, right? So that's the connection, ladies, is that your core values will start to help you weed out guys, right? So if a guy is wanting to have sex way too soon, or he doesn't want to introduce you to his family, he only wants to do dinner and Netflix at your house, he never wants to take you out, that might not be the right guy for you. So if it's not in line with who you are, you need to really start thinking about it. You need to develop some mindfulness. Really notice how you feel after interacting and spending time with your partner. If he dims down your light, steals your joy, I always say kills my buzz. If he does that, then he's probably not the guy for you. right? But a lot of times we're just so focused on getting the guy, we're not even focused on how we feel, right? So if you feel let down, right? If you in especially in more than one area, I'm not just talking about one area. If it's just everywhere, he's just really not the guy. You just feel drained, right? Your energy is zapped from him, right? Then you know that's probably not your guy. Then you need to develop whether or not the relationship is something that you should stay into, right? Being in alignment is critical, ladies. Your core values really give you a measurement of what's acceptable to you and what's not. And if the interaction between you and a man that you've been dating for 6 months is, if it stays on a superficial level and it's not aligned with your core value, and intimacy is really important to you, right? If being intimate, I don't mean sexually intimate, I had to read that again myself, is really important, and he doesn't want to connect with you in that way, then it might not be the right relationship for you. Right. So understanding the partner you with is super important, right? Understand your partner's core values. His values might be different from yours, right? His values might, maybe he wants to spend his life hunting, shooting, killing. I don't know. If that doesn't align with what you do, then, if you don't even eat meat, you might not want to be with someone who likes to hunt and shoot and kill animals all the time, right? So really pay attention to your core value, and don't judge him for his just because they're not in line with yours. It just means you're not a match. It's okay not to be a match. Right, we get so heartbroken and down because, oh my God, it didn't work. He didn't like me. I didn't like him. So what? Move on. Right? That's what life is all about. You keep going until you find the one who is aligned with you. Right? And if you trust your core values, and it'll work out. Right? You'll start to see that he's trustworthy, or he'll start to see you're trustworthy, and you'll start to understand whether or not you're the right partner for each other, right? So aligning yourself with your core values also gives you courage, because it takes courage to align with your core value. You have women in my program who said they're not going to have sex until they're married. That's part of their core value. Right? It takes courage because they have to let go of a lot of good men because they just won't stand for that. But there are a lot of men out there that are so happy. You mean I get to be the only one who makes love to you, and the only one who whatever has been with you and teach you how to make love? Some men really want that. So don't lose your heart if you feel like you want to be you don't want to have sex, or you want to be celibate, or you want to be a virgin. It's okay. Don't let this world twist your mind. Right? It just means knowing who you are and making the choices based on what's important to you, right? And what's going to make you feel good. And the beauty of your core values is that it can apply to every area of your life, not just with men. And the more we are in alignment with our core value, the more harmonious we will be in the world. So it's very important for you to get aligned with your core values, especially when it comes to love, because these are like your guiding principles, right? They really serve as a baseline to what's acceptable and what's not, especially in relationship. And when you define yourself and you live in alignment with your core values, you will have some clear directions in life and in love. You'll start making better choices, right? This is just one of the biggest things I could give you tonight to help you make a big switch in how you're showing up in your relationship to attract healthier relationships this week. So I wanted to give you something that you can apply immediately. Right. And so if you're currently in a relationship with a man that doesn't seem to have the ability to connect with you, and you don't want to continue to stay in that unhealthy relationship, right? If he never makes you feel fulfilled, right? Assess the relationship, determine where you are, right? Before you get super attached in a relationship. It's not good to settle. So never settle for mediocrity. Never settle for less than you deserve in a relationship. When you're connected with your own core values, right, you break the cycle of chaos, and you really walk down the path of self-discovery, where you will start to learn more about the things that are important to you, about self-love, self-acceptance, and then creating this happy and authentic life. When you get to that point, you will attract men. Let me drop this piece of knowledge on you. You'll attract men not that are broken, because the men that you're attracting are broken. They're players, they're liars, they're cheaters, they're abusers, they're users, they're all of this because they are broken. You are broken, so you are attracting a broke man. You cannot attract a healthy man if you haven't done your inner work. So it's really important to do your inner work. And when you do that, you won't settle, right? And these are some of the impacts of it, right? Our core values really impact everything we do. Right? And this is why I encourage you so much to partner with someone who can help you. Not someone who can just give you surface level information, but someone that can really help you do your work. And this is why I brought out yesterday, and I constantly bring out, because I know one day it's going to click. And last night it clicked for quite a few of you. And so, that you have to do your inner work. You have to start there, right? Because this impacts everything you do in life. And it's so important that you take the time to really understand yourself, love yourself, connect with yourself, because this will reduce your chances of settling for less and hooking up with guys that are the wrong type of men for you, right? And again, I want to remind you to go to chapter 2 of my book so that you can really get more understanding. And so selecting a good partner really becomes much easier when you're in alignment, right? You'll be able to clearly discern when a man is a good match for you and when he's not, because you won't just be horny because you haven't been out on a date in months or years, right? You won't just be desperate because you're looking for a man. You'll be discerning because you're looking for a life partner, right? And so that's what I want to help you do. Identify who's a good life partner for you. How do we do our inner work? How do we get in alignment with ourselves first before we go out there dating? Right? How do we create a connection with ourselves, right? So again, you go inside yourself before you start letting men go inside you. That's really critical, ladies, right? Because once you start letting a man go inside you in any of your holes, any one of them, you start getting attached to him. So before you let men start entering the holes in your body, you need to go inside your own body and start getting some clarity on what you need, all right? So your core values will be like a GPS system. It really will, right? It'll help you stand firm and remain true to yourself. Have you ever noticed that there are women who can easily attract men, right? They might not be pretty. They might not be skinny. They might not be tall. They might not be whatever. But they're able to attract the men. One of the things I can guarantee you, it's not the only thing she has to attract the man, but I can guarantee you one of the things she does have is alignment with her core values. And that man, he knows that she won't settle. If anyone has ever been to my retreats or seen me speak in person, I have to smile because I love my husband. He caters to me so much. And so when we're out, he's always trying to make sure everything is okay. Right? And so a man will do that for you because he knows who you are and how you are. And he just wants to make sure your world is perfect, right? And that's what a man will do when you're in alignment with yourself and when you do your inner work and when you're connected with yourself and you've cleared up all of this trauma for your past. He's running around because he's like, oh my God, I got a good woman. I can't let her go, right? But the same man that might do good for me, right? He's been single for 17 years. So he's been with tons of women. He's a handsome man, right? So most men, he might lie and cheat. I'm not talking about my husband now. I'm back to y'all men. So they might lie and cheat and disappear and you breadcrumb you, right? End up marrying someone else. He'll do all kinds of stuff to you. But when he meets that right woman, he will do for her what he won't do for you, right? And this is because every man will be a man. He will have sex and relieve himself biologically until he meets a woman that's really virtuous and aligned with her core values and makes him feel like he has to become a better man. That's the key, ladies. He has to feel like he has to elevate himself for you. And if you are just making it easy for him, giving him sex too quick, chasing and pining after him, texting him 500,000 times a day and crying and being needy and, oh my gosh, and this and that and this and that, because you haven't done your work, you're never going to really attract the good guy. You're going to keep attracting the same type of men. So for those of you who have been asking me, how do I fix myself? How do I understand what I need to address or change? This is where we start. We start by partnering together so that I can work with you individually, so that I can help you identify your blind spots that we talked about yesterday, so that we can clear those up, so that we can understand the trauma and what's happened to you in your past, so we can help you break through with that, right? Even at the retreat, as I mentioned, we're going to have licensed therapists there, because this is not going to be a joke. We are one and done. We are going to help you get your man, right? And so when you are able to position yourself in this way, right? This is why the women after the program, they get a man instantly after they come from the retreat. 30 days, most of them are getting in relationships, and that's a one and done thing, and they're getting engaged and married, right? And this is because when a man is able to see you for who you are, authentically and healthy and healed with high values, he's attracted to you, right? So you have to get in alignment with your personal values, your core values, and really apply it to your life, right? And it's going to be really important. It's going to be really important to do that. Men are super attracted to women who are in alignment with their core values. Again, like I said, it makes him want to be a better man. It really does. And so, as I mentioned yesterday, ladies, it's going to be super important for you to truly, truly understand the blueprint process. It's not just a thing, right? It is a real thing. It is something that you need to apply in your life. So you really need to understand what you're doing now. You need to pivot and do something different. Not continue to say, I don't know why, what's going on? Stop wondering why and trying to figure out on your own what's going on. And let's get down to the root to make some real radical changes. That's what we need to do. Change your approach, change your mindset, get out of your poor me stories, right? We need to stop doing that. We need to create a soul connection again with ourselves, right? We need to harness that energy so that we can improve our intuition when dealing with men, right? You need to access your inner queen, lady, so that you can level up your confidence, your self-love, and your femininity, so you can truly attract the guy that you deserve, right? Learn how to pick up on cues when your Mr. Right is pursuing you, because some of y'all don't know when you're being pursued by a good man. I get some of you too say, I don't know why I was that way. I had to call my girlfriends up. This guy is stalking me. I don't know why he's stalking me. Man, he's calling me and he's there with flowers. He seems to know what parties I'm going to be at. I felt like he was stalking me. Well, I learned that that's what a man does when he really wants you. It feels like he's stalking you, and you don't have to tell him to do that, right? It really, really does happen. But you know what, ladies? You're not going to figure this out alone. Even with the bits I'm giving you, you're going to make a tremendous impact. If you never do anything else, the information I've given you yesterday and today, and I'm going to give you tomorrow, you can make wonderful changes in your life. But the thing about it, ladies, is that you want to make sustainable changes. And just understanding just one component, it's like if you just know how one wall is supposed to be put up in a building and you don't have the rest of the framework, it's not going to work. That one wall is not going to support the whole house. You have to really understand how to build all four walls. You have to understand how to create the foundation, right? Solid in a way where it will last forever. Not just last until you meet a man, not just last for a few months, but last for the rest of your life and building a healthy relationship. How do you solidify that roof so that it doesn't leak? How do you stop yourself from leaking negative energy, desperate energy, right? Sexual energy, right? How do you stop that? How do you stop leaking and leading with your stuff and really go inside yourself and become authentic with a man, right? So that's what I'm teaching you, and that's what I'm extending out to you, ladies. And like I said, how you work with me is up to you. Some people do one-on-one work, some people do group work, some people do the retreat, and some people do all three. And I can tell you the people who get the most out of their time are the women who take advantage of all that they can so that they can do as much work. And this is the only reason why I keep offering this to you, ladies, for the retreat. And so I hope that you're going to consider it. I only want you to come if you want to come. I only want you to sign up with me if you do. Anyone who's called me on the phone, I had a woman call me today. She said, I need to sleep on it. She said, I'm going to make my decision in the morning. I said, you do that. And if you change your mind, that's perfectly fine, because I want her to be crystal clear. Here's why I want you to be crystal clear. Once you make the decision that you're going to commit to something, here's the things, ladies, a man will start to commit to you. You can't commit to yourself or anything else, but you're looking for a man to commit to you. No man will ever commit to a woman who can't invest in herself and commit to herself. Think about it. You want a man to invest in you, his time, his money, his energy, his life, his love, his heart, but you can't commit to you can't invest in yourself. You want a man to commit to you, but there's nothing that you're doing in life other than work or children that you're committing to. So what are you committing to? What are you investing in? If you want a man to invest and commit to you, you have to do it to yourself. A man will only treat you the way you're treating yourself, or better, right? And so you have to treat yourself better. You have to make the decision to do this inner work, to get this fixed, commit to yourself. Don't say I may go, I'm going to go next year. Say I'm going to go this year. I want my man this year. I want to do my inner work this year. I want a commitment this year. When you say I want to commit next year, when you say I'm going to go next year, I'm going to sign up next year, that man is going to say I'm going to sign up next year too. And that's why. And then some of y'all never get to the point where you sign up for anything with anybody. And that's why you're still sitting there saying, I don't know why I can't get a man to commit to me. I want you to find out. I want you to let me know, what have you committed to? And half the time, y'all have not committed to anything. So don't be surprised when a man doesn't commit to you. It doesn't work that way. If you don't commit, no one's going to commit to you. If you don't love yourself, no one's going to love yourself. If you're broken and you're not doing your inner work, you're going to attract a broken man who's not doing his inner work. And he's going to, in the way men do when they are broken, they are abusive. They take it out sexually. They don't want to commit. They wear dirty drawers. They don't care about nothing. They keep the house a mess. They don't pay their bills, right? They just run around ratchet. They destroy stuff. They get angry. They have anger issues, right? And you're going to be attracting what you are. And so if you want to stop the madness, you have to pivot and shift so that you can create your breakthrough and do your inner work. And until you make that decision to invest and commit to yourself, don't expect a man to invest his time, his money, his heart, his soul, his house, his life to you, and then commit to you when you can't do it for yourself. And like I said, I make everything very economical for you. Even the program, I got a program you can pay about $100 a week to pay for the retreat. That's the amount of a date. Some of y'all can't pay $100 a week for a date, but guess what? How many times would you like a man to take you out for a date if you were dating? Would you like him to take you out once every 6 months, once every couple of years? Or do you want him to take you out every week? And if you want him to take you out every week, then think about what you're really saying. I want him to spend at least $100, that's a minimum, on me for a date, right? I want him to bring me flowers. I want him to buy some wine or take me out to dinner or buy me a gift or buy me a purse. Those things cost money. Right? So we want them from men. I want to go to a nice restaurant. He just takes me to a cheap place all the time, right? Or he just want to do movies. He's cheap, or, whatever. But so are you. I'm sorry. Yes, I did go there. Because you're only going to attract a man at your own level. If you can't invest in you, if you can't commit to you, if you can't ever do anything to improve you, then you're not going to get a man that's doing that either. And so with that, I am going to thank you for joining this session. And I really appreciate all of you for giving me this platform to speak and to share this information with you. It's a serious matter. And I hope by now, for those of you who are especially new to me, you know that I don't take this lightly. This is a serious matter. I don't do fluff and stuff. So you can let the world know Camille is the real deal. She doesn't do fluff and stuff. She gives you the information and tools and strategies and tips that you need to really attract your Mr. Right. And that's what we're all about here in helping you stop. I want you to stop the madness, stop dating the wrong kind of men, and really learn to get the techniques and strategies that you need to attract your Mr. Right once and for all. And so that's what we're all about here. So I hope to really see many of you at the Love Rejuvenation Retreat. It is October 3rd through the 7th. It's not free. There is a fee involved. I've looked around and see other retreats. It's not even as expensive as a lot of retreats, and we give you so much more at our retreat than I've ever seen. Some retreats, I see that you have to get there and get your own meals and pay for your own activities. All of that is done for you. You have to do nothing but come and feel like a queen. Right. So as I mentioned, we have payment plans. And if there's not a payment plan for you that's on the site, feel free to let me know what you need so that I can help make it happen for you. Because that's what's more important to me, is that you get there. This retreat will change your life. And this is why so many women, they come, they have a man, and they still come every year because they want to up level their relationship each year. I had someone ask one of the girls, why do you come every year? Right. And you can look at the video. She actually says it on one of the video why she comes every year. And because each year she's up leveling more and more and more. Right. And so I just posted the link for the Love Rejuvenation Retreat in the chat. And so for those of you who have not been to the website, I'm going to share my screen one more time and show you the website. Here it is. I think my web tech did a wonderful job. And this is a retreat. Right here is going to be in beautiful Virginia Beach, Virginia. Someone told me, you make Virginia look amazing, but that's how the beach looks out here. This is a real picture of Virginia Beach. So this is not a stock photo. This is really in Virginia Beach. So we are 113 days out, ladies, 18 hours and 36 minutes. I can't wait. And so it's going to be really an amazing time. So I'm just going to scroll down to some of the things that we're going to be doing at that retreat. So if you haven't gone out to this page, go out there. We're going to be doing yoga every day. I'm so excited. Here's some more pictures. But here are some of the things that we're going to be doing. Again, yoga and meditation, your breakfast, lunch, and dinners included. I think maybe one day you don't have it. See, Thursday might be the only day that we usually go out to a restaurant together one day. It's usually Thursday, but we'll see if that happens because I have some activities. My personal trainer is I think she is a national pole dancing championship. I didn't know that. And she also teaches a twerking class. So she's going to be coming to the retreat. I work with her at the gym, and she's going to be coming to give us some lessons. It's all about getting into your body and feeling sexy, ladies. And I'm going to help you do that. Our welcome night is paint and sip. We have a great time. It's way more than paint and sip, but you only put so much on the website, right? We go to an adventure park. We have a spa day, boudoir, beauty bash, and we're going to have a sunset dinner, all white dinner cruise. So that's just some of the highlights, ladies. The schedule is there if you continue to scroll down. I won't go through that right now. It'd take too long, but here is the schedule for each day. Here's Wednesday, here's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So take a perusal through that and see what we got going on. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I'm going to open up for your questions. Hi, everyone. Oh, who said that? Julie. Thank you so much, Julie. You're so sweet. She said, we're all fortunate to have Camille. Yeah, y'all can go out and tell some folks about me. Spread the word that I'm here. I'm really here to help women. And I'm glad, Julie, that you think that I'm a blessing to you. And I pray all the time to God to really help me attract the women that really need the help the most, and that I can really provide the most benefit in their life. And so I thank you. I'm humbled and I'm honored. Thank you. All right, y'all, we're going to open up for some questions. Let's get down to your questions. Your prayers are working. Thank you. My prayer, Julie, is for you to get to the retreat. That's my prayer right now. All right, so who has some questions for me? Let me see what time it is. Do we have any questions? Don't be shy. Someone once told me, when you have a coach, teacher, educator, superstar, whoever in the room, and they say, who has a question? All your hands and your feet should be up, because you're getting the best advice from someone that you're looking to get advice from. It's your time to shine. It's your time to get your blessing. So ask your question, right? I'm thinking a lot about GoFundMe. Tell me how to find yourself, your passion, your purpose. Yeah, so it starts with, I think that was Julie that asked that question. And Julie, feel free to come on and talk. I like to talk to people. So you should be able to, let me see if I can make it so that you can unmute yourself. Okay, there, I made it so that everyone can unmute themselves now that I'm done. Julie's question is, how do you find your passion, your purpose, and because she's kind of clueless of how to do that. So Julie, tonight's lesson, please go back and listen to it, okay? Because in listening to it, finding and understanding your core value is the very first step in identifying your passion. You have to know what's important to you first. So that's a very key thing. So understanding what are your core values. We can't skip to our purpose without our core values. What means a lot to you, right? What's important to you, right? And so you have to really understand what your core values are, right? And so do that first. It's an exercise that you really need to consider a list of core values and really, get down to the root of what it is. And so you mentioned that your core value is living with integrity. And then from there you can, and kind and thoughtful. And so then you have to go from there to see the next level would be what could be your purpose, or what could you do for free, and what do you think you're great at? What do your friends tell you you're amazing at, right? So my friends will always say, Camille, you're so good at giving advice. You're so good at helping people. And you're so good at seeing what they don't see, right? You're so good at understanding the question behind the question. You're so good at understanding what they're really not saying, right? So I pay attention to what people don't say more than what they do say, right? And so that told me that I was good at really helping people. I like to talk, right? I can entertain and ask a lot of questions, right? So I knew I needed to either be a lawyer, a TV show host, or radio show host, or a teacher, right? And so that's how you start to identify what your purpose is start looking at the things that you're passionate about and the things that you're doing anyway, and see how you can expand that to make a living, right? How can you make that become your sole purpose in life, right? So, yeah. So you have to see what you can do to really help others, right? It sounds like you love living with integrity. So you might want to do something that's faith-based, something that has to do with helping others or children or women or people, right? Could be sick people, who knows what it is, right? So think about what could go with your core values and what you're good at, right? And some of us may come up with a lot of things. I like cooking. We've had a restaurant. I make great cakes. I was invited to the Food Channel, right? So there's so many things I love to do, but I don't do everything, right? And I have to sometimes let some of those things go and just do them, when I have time. Right. And so that's great if you like to help people who suffer with depression and anxiety. One of the things I find is that the things where we have the biggest problems is where we want to help others the most. So I also too, like you all, used to have problems with attracting the wrong type of men, had problems with trauma and things in my life, couldn't let go of the past. I was very angry, bitter. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to get help. I didn't know how to fix myself, right? But when I got it and I fixed it and I did my inner work, now I can help you. And so when you consider helping people, because one of the traps I find that women fall into is that we end up doing something that we're helping someone else, but it's really kind of drowning our pain. So when we start talking about helping other people with psychological issues and we haven't done our work, we could be drowning our own issues in theirs. So be very careful. So if anybody who wants to go be a psychiatrist or a therapist or a coach, I'm going to really tell you one of the things that you have to do is get coached yourself. So you can't go be a coach or a psychologist or therapist if you haven't gotten that experience. So make sure you get coached, you get help, you get healed before you try to heal someone else, because you won't be as effective if you don't do your inner work, right? It's like I can't go help people, I don't know, buy and sell homes if I'm not experienced in it and I don't know how to do it. I can read up on it, but if I don't really have the experience of buying and selling homes, I might not be that effective in teaching someone else how to do it. So how do you know you've done your inner work and you're healed? Because you're not having the issues that you're having anymore. You're not having men, churn and burn on you, use you for sex. They want to lay and play. You're not having that happen to you. They're not using you for your money. They're not ditching you. They're not treating you negatively. They're not putting you down. They're not disrespecting you. They're not, allowing their children to disrespect you or put you out of their home. And you're not saying, hey, I want to go back to you if they would allow you, right? And so when we have those type of situations going on in our life, right, we know that we're not healed, because if we are in that situation I just described and that man says he puts you out, he kicks you out, he doesn't leave you with anything and he just leaves you, and then he says, well, hey, come on back now, and you go back, you're not healed. We might feel like, oh yes, he changed his mind, I'm so happy. That's what we feel, but man, that's so jacked up. That means that we got low self-esteem, a low worth, a low value, and what happened? He's going to do it again when he feels like it again. Right? And so be very careful. Yeah. That's right. Nat said they're calling you back for a second date. Yes, ma'am. Right? You know that because you're getting those second, third, and fourth dates, right? But that's what happens when you're doing your inner work. You start shifting and it's not fake and phony. Right? We're really shifting. When you know that, oh, I got to fake the fun, put on a happy face, and oh my gosh, I'm really feeling sad when I'm alone, and I'm on Facebook, and oh yeah, I'm smiling, and then I'm all alone, I'm home, I'm sad, I'm crying, I'm getting drunk and high and trying to numb myself emotionally. You're not healed. You got inner work to do, especially if you're numbing yourself emotionally, taking pills, taking drugs, alcohol, eating a ton of food, numbing yourself, getting fat, right? Hiding, all of those things are showing or signs that you got some work to do. So Kessia says, Camille, I have attracted 2 narcissistic men in recent months. And so I have determined that I will do the work to stop the cycle. I had a father who's narcissistic and selfish. Yes, thank you for making that connection. Thank you for making that connection. It's super, super important to do your work, Kessia. It is super, and I hope I'm saying your name right. It's super, super important. And so I hope doing your work means that you're coming to the retreat. And signing up to work with me, because that's going to be really, really crucial. Coming to the retreat and taking my monthly club, because that's what's included. I haven't talked about that too much, but when you come to the retreat, you automatically get enrolled into my monthly club, where I have a coaching session with you once a month, kind of like this, and it's monthly, and we talk about specific topics, and you get to do Q&A at the end. Most women talk, and I can coach them out loud, and they get what they need. And so, and then they come to the retreat and they get all of these lavish gifts and treatment at the retreat. And it's just amazing. All right. Do I have anyone who wants to come online and talk to me? My love language are words of affection. I like to talk to people. Y'all make it hard for me. So do me a favor, now that you all are getting to know me, please talk to me, because my love language is words of affection. I love to. Okay, so Julie is saying she loves to. Okay, so let's see what we can do. Let me find you, Julie. I don't know if you know how to unmute yourself, so I'm going to go look for you. Okay. Oh. Okay, so she's on a. So Julie, can you talk to me? You don't have a button to talk, so I don't know how you're seeing me. That's really weird. All right, so if you figure out how to take yourself off of mute, you can do that. All right, does anybody else have a question while we're trying to figure out Julie's thing? Okay, take yourself off of mute, Charlene, if you can. If not, I will try. I don't know what's going on with
Good evening.
Hey.
How are you? Good, I see.
Yes, I'm marvelous. I'm fabulous.
So, where you mentioned that until the man meets his virtuous woman who is aligned with her core and values and clear regarding her purpose. So that's one of my prayers to make me be a virtuous woman. And I think about, which is one of my favorite scriptures, is the Proverbs 31 woman, which talks about how she takes care of everything. She got her man back, the children, all of that. So if you're doing all those things, even without the man, are you already that virtuous woman, or you only that once you have that man?
No, you can be a virtual woman without a man. There are tons of virtuous women. I think of Oprah Winfrey now. I don't know her personally, but from what I see about her, she's a virtuous woman, right? I was a virtuous woman when I was single.
Okay.
You can be a virtual woman who has virtues and values, and you can have a man or not have a man. So a man doesn't make you virtuous. In the Proverbs 31 wife, it's not, that scripture is not talking about, he's talking about somebody with a husband. He's not talking about someone with a guy that she's dating. And so that's one of the biggest mistakes, is we give boyfriends husband privileges. So boyfriends should not have the privilege of husband, of us waking up before the sun set, working hard, out wheeling and dealing and buying real estate, is what Proverbs 31 is talking about, doing all of those stuff. She's working hard with her hands. She's married. She's not doing that for a boyfriend. And so the mistake is that we give boyfriend husband privileges. And so he never becomes a husband, because you're giving him too much. You're not making him realize that he needs to commit to you to get those privileges.
Okay. Well, that's what I wasn't, what I thought about in that particular part of the session, that you're already can be the virtuous woman. You don't become it once you get a husband. You can be that virtuous woman before.
Yes, everything I'm talking about to you in these lessons, you have to become before a man really will take you seriously. Because let's face it, you could get married to somebody. He could be a scrub. He could use you. I was married to someone for 17 years. Guess what? For 17 years, he went to school. And I was paying for all the bills. Right? He was pool certified. We had a pool 36. We had a huge pool in our backyard. We live in a huge home. this 5,000 square foot home, and we had this huge 36-foot pool in the backyard, right? He was pool certified. My pool was green with algae all the time, right? So he did not work hard in that house. He didn't want to lift a finger, right? I was working hard. I was waking up. That $1 million home we lived in was in my name alone. All the property that we had that we rented out was in my name alone. All the cars that we bought were in my name alone. Right? That relationship worked because I was a mule in that relationship alone. And when I decided I wasn't going to be a mule anymore and carry the weight of everybody by myself, it fell apart. And he stayed homeless for quite a while. He was homeless. I mean, and then he got a place, and then he was homeless, and now he's remarried to someone. Remember that sign, that image I showed you, what he won't do for you, he could do for another woman. And he didn't do those things for me, but I look at him in his new relationship. They seem very happy. He's hardworking. He's like, oh no, I gotta hustle. I get child support on time, all the time. I'm like, thank you, wife. Right? I don't have to say a word, right? And once the child will come, oh, I'll send you the airfare, right? Because his wife is not having it. She's not going to see him not handle his business, because that means she's married to a man that doesn't handle his business. And he's not going to let her see him in that state. I saw him in that state, but we were married since we were 22. We were dating probably since we were 21, so super young. So, but for this woman that he's with now, oh, he is hustling and busting his butt. He is doing everything. And I'm looking like I said to my son the other day, he's 12, he's a little messy. I'm not stressed about it because I got 3 boys and I got 30 years of mess with boys. I'm not going to stress out about that. I choose not to. And I say, oh, you're messy just like your dad. And he's, no, my dad is very neat. He's organized. His shoes are lined up. His clothes are color coordinated. I'm like, who? He said, Daddy. I'm like, huh? So what he wouldn't do for me, that would have been a dream. We'd probably still be together. He does for the woman that he's with now. So just because he doesn't do it for you, if he's not doing it for you, if he's cheating and lying and, treating you badly, it's because he doesn't see the value in you. But it doesn't mean that he doesn't have it in him to be a good man. And this is why a man can leave. And then now you look around and say, oh, he's married. He got married, and this is why, right? So, just because he won't do it for you doesn't mean that he won't do it. Doesn't mean he won't do it. He will do it for a virtual woman who he sees the value in.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So it all starts with us, ladies. We want to think that, yes, men have work to do. But the point is, when you do your work, when you invest in yourself, when you change yourself, when you commit to yourself, you will start to attract men who do the same thing. Right? Now, the interesting thing is probably when I met my husband that I'm divorced from, I was probably broken. We were only 21, right? Remember, my childhood was a kind of a mess. I thought I was doing okay because I moved with my dad, had a really good life, thought I forgot about all that stuff until I got into this serious relationship, and here I am getting married. So I was probably very wounded in our relationship, especially in the beginning years where, I did some self-development at work. We had to take leadership classes and stuff. So that was the beginning of me learning about all of this stuff, but didn't know a whole lot about it, right? And I probably still showed up in my relationships a little triggered, a little bitter, wall up, masculine energy, bossy, right? And the woman that he's with, coincidentally, she's in self-improvement, self-development type of business. So now she's in a different, right? She's already more probably where I am now than where I was when I was 20, right? So she is showing up as a virtuous woman. She has her values, and she's not going to stand for mess, right? She's not going to tolerate negativity in a toxic relationship. So he knows he had to step to her with his act together. My husband had to step to me with his act together, right? He knows that his act is together, right? So, but maybe for someone else that he was with, they might say, oh, you with him? As a matter of fact, I went to my current husband's California. I went to some place where I met some old friends, like from when he was like in his 20s. I mean, my husband's 59 now, and that's all they remember when he was 20. And it's like, oh, you with him? And I was like, wow, what happened? So he's changed over the year, and whatever he wouldn't do for his first wife, he does for me, right? I didn't have to work, right? I don't have to do anything. He's willing to take care of me. I love my work. I enjoy doing work, and it works for me, but he doesn't want me to, right? So for 4 years, I've been married, it's been almost 5 years, but he doesn't want me to go to work. The man that I've had kids for didn't allow me to stay home, but the man I have no kids for, he's like, babe, you should stay home and take care of your son. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Right. And it's all about where you are. Right. See, because he wouldn't have stepped to me if I wasn't where I was. That's why I'm trying to get you ladies to be a certain place, because it does change your energy and who you attract. So I hope that makes sense.
It does. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. See some comments in the chat. Was in great debt because of a terrible relationship, and was so lost. And what is the next step? Not only on a financial burden, but the beliefs. If I can really find Mr. Right. Yeah. Camille talks about how, okay, this is Nat saying how we could, I need to put my glasses on. Okay, here we go. I can see. Camille talks about how when we block in one area, we often block in many areas. Yep, that's correct. And I felt what you're feeling. Thanks, Nat, for sharing that with her. Yes, you keep things very simple to understand. Absolutely. So I know, I'm not sure if I'm saying your name right, but Bayi, it seems like that's how you say it. I don't know if that's how you say it. Feel free to come on the line and chat with me. But when you're broken and when you're hurt and a man puts you in debt, you still have to rebuild. The next step is no different, ladies. I don't care what your situation is with a man. What I'm saying is no different for each one of you, because ultimately you have trauma. You had a bad experience. You have emotional baggage that you need to fix. And what I'm hearing constantly from you women is that you're trying to figure out how to get fixed without investing in yourself, without paying for a program, without hiring a coach, without going to a retreat. And if you don't want to do anything, that's fine, but you're going to just keep getting the same results. I can't be any more honest with you. I'm never going to dance around that topic, right? I'm just going to tell you the way it is. If you want to get healed without doing anything, I'm going to tell you, go find a bunch of books and read them. Continue to find free programs and get a little bit. It'll probably take you about 15, 20 years to string it all together. I have been doing my work. I'm 50 for 30 years. I was on the phone with one of my clients. She says, I've been doing my life. You're going to keep working, improving, but I've been doing this deep work. I would probably say just in the last 10 years, since my divorce, I really got it. Okay. It's probably been a little bit more than 10 years, but it took a long time for me to get it. I went through my 20s. I didn't get it. I went through my 30s. I didn't get it. Got into my 40s. I was like, oh, okay. I think I got to figure this out now. And I really went down the path, in my 40s to figure this out. And I wouldn't stop until I put it together, right? She's right. I've been in and out of therapy for 20 years. Yep. And you only need to work with me for less than 1 year. And I don't discount any therapy because some of us need to go. That's just plain and simple. But yep, yep. Yeah. So women come to me, and like I said, they work with me, 1 year. Some women work with me too, be very honest. Very few of them do, but they need that extra support. And what happens is that the first year they spend doing their inner work, and then sometimes the second year they're with a guy and they're like, oh my gosh, help me keep him, right? So the first year is how to fix ourselves, do our inner work, and learn how to attract him. And then sometimes people say, okay, I know how to get a man now. I want to know how to keep him and build a healthy relationship. And so now I walk them through that process. And sometimes it can be very difficult, come back. Oh, he said this, because I end up being like a hitch, or, like the person, you could say, he said this. What does that mean? How do I take that? Oh, I had an attitude. Oh, I wanted to really tell him off, or he made me super angry. I wanted to break up with him. Or he told me that I wasn't this, or I needed to correct that. And we get super insulted, right? And then as you talk to me, I really help you understand how to really receive that information, what to do with it, and how to go back and have a conversation. So you keep your relationship and you keep it healthy and you build on it. So that's why some women come back for that second year. So, but that's up to each individual person. All right. So tell me, what are your thoughts? I want to know who's thinking about coming to the retreat this year. And who's showing up tomorrow for part number 3? Did y'all enjoy part number 1 and 2? I mean, it was super juicy, wasn't it? I mean, I have to say so myself. I love these classes. It's super, super, super juicy. Yeah. Hey, Anita, so what are you going to do? You coming tomorrow? You coming to the retreat? Elaborate. Tell me what y'all doing here. I want to know, what are your plans? What's your next, right? Because, okay, after the class is over, you got a lot of information. What are you going to do? What is your next step? Or really, really stepping into what you want in life, in a relationship, right? Yes, ma'am. I appreciate that. Yes, super juicy both days. Thank you, ladies. Definitely coming tomorrow. Appreciate that. Yep, I'm thinking very hard, and hopefully by the grace of God, I will make it happen. Thank you, Julie. Yes, ma'am. God will give it to you. I'm glad you guys are enjoying these days. All right, ladies, last chance. Any other questions? We're getting super quiet. It's getting super late. All right. If we have no questions, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm going to wish you a good night. I wish you ladies love, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow for part number 3 of our 3-part series, How to Stop Dating the Wrong Type of Men so you can get your Mr. Right. That's what we're going to be talking about. And tomorrow is going to be kind of the finale. We're going to be putting a nice little neat bow on it, right? And then we're going to, I hope that this is giving you something to really work with, ladies. So I'm hoping that. Thank you, Nat, for all the hearts. Good night. Look forward to Tuesday. Yes, super juicy. Remember, tomorrow we're meeting at 7 o'clock, not 8 o'clock. I have a class at 8 o'clock. I will probably push their class until 8:30. I'm going to try to squeeze in an extra half an hour. And then, so we're going to be moving through the class really quickly tomorrow. And then Q&A is going to be super quick. And then, yeah, your homework tonight is to, what have you been listening to, Julie? Your homework is to identify your core values, to take the time. It's more than 3 minutes. You need to sit and think, journal, really understand what your core values are. If you don't understand your core values, you're never going to attract a man. You got to understand your core values. That's the most important thing. That's the foundation. understanding your core values, right? So that's where we're starting at today, is really getting those core values. If you can get it, what I find happens to a lot of women is you hear this information, it's like, rah, rah, yay, it's great information, good, 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 and you leave and you're not like applying the things that I said. Apply, apply, apply. Tonight, go through your core values. Journal about it, write about it, come up with core values. Yep. And that's what your homework is tonight, to understand your core values. Pray about it, think about it, talk about it, feel about it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, ladies. I wish you love. Good night.